Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist. First in weather here, it is January 1st, 2022, and boy do we have a snowstorm to talk about for the Mid-Atlantic. Hard to believe after a record warm December with high temperatures in the mid-70s, but we are here. Winter is coming. Hard to believe when the high temperature today was in the 70s for large portions of Virginia, but we do have a winter weather event for northern North Carolina, Virginia. This also includes Northern Virginia, Maryland, the Delmarva, southern portions, especially of Maryland. So we got something to talk about. And right now, first, I'm going to go through all the model data. I'll go through the my thoughts on the forecast, and then I'll end the video with my snowfall forecast. So let's start off first with the GFS Ensemble. I think the GFS model has by far been the most consistent out of all the models, which is really a big win for the GFS. The Euro was flopping back and forth. The GFS was consistently showing a system for Monday, forming behind that initial system, and then that system kind of intensifying and creating its own cold air, so to speak, and giving some snow. And recently, the recent model trends have really gone much more aggressive with this system. If we start with the QPF, just to get an idea of what the system is going to do, well, you see here, as that first system goes through, we have that secondary low formation. This is the front coming through, and now we have this system. Notice though, 850 millibar temperatures, -3 up to central Virginia. So that's all rain at this point. Okay, all the mid levels are very warm. After that, this is when things get a bit interesting. So this is 9Z Monday, so about 4 a.m. You can see the snow line right about here. So anything below or behind or north of the 0Z line is snow. So let me draw this out for you guys real quick. Anything north of this is snow, all right? And then anything south of that is rain, mix, etc., just the mess. Now, let me change the color too. Let me make it a little bit better. There we go. So now if we go to 12Z, notice how the 0Z line has shifted now south of I-64. It's now east of Henrico County. So all of this stuff is very, very, very heavy sleet, snow. I think these areas right here are going to be in the sleet zone. So this area will see lots of mixing, lots of sleet, and that will really sort of have the potential to cut down on snowfall totals just a bit. But again, with the system that really does not have that much cold air in place, it really could impact the snow totals a little bit. After that, this is 15Z. Now everyone's all snow, very heavy. I'm talking very heavy snowfall rates, maybe 1-2 inch per hour snowfall rates for central Virginia, going up to Fredericksburg, and then around 18Z, things finally start to wind down and the system departs. Now, let me just show you the ensemble. Again, this is not a one model forecast. This is an ensemble of 50 GFS members. This is the snowfall 10-to-1 forecast. Now, keep in mind, you have to take this and divide by 2. If this was a traditional snowstorm, this would be possible. You would take it at face value or around that. But because we are having temperatures in the 70s right now, because we're going to see a changeover from rain to snow, colder always arrives a bit later, ground temps are super warm, the ground is wet, take this number and divide by 2. And the GFS ensemble is being very aggressive, so it's showing a good swath of 4 to 8 inches of snow in central Virginia. Now, I think this is a bit too high. But again, it's just amazing to see how much more aggressive it's gotten. If you look at just 3 runs ago, it was showing 3 to 4 inches of snow, and now it's showing 4 to 8 inches of snow. So very, very impressive advance and sort of increase in the snowfall totals. Now, one thing I do want to show you, though, is the temperatures, and that's going to be a big issue. Temperatures right now are in the 60s to near 70s, so it's going to be crucial that we kind of convert or change and really rapidly drop those temperatures. And I think that might be a sort of a wild card factor where things right in central Virginia kind of struggle to change and drop down below the freezing mark. Now, if we look at 15Z Monday, the GFS ensemble shows temperatures at around 30 degrees, which is good for some good snowfall accumulation. 12Z Monday, 32. So the GFS ensemble is quite bullish on sub-freezing temperatures, at least for a good portion of Monday morning, as a result of the system being stronger. It wraps down more cold air. However, the downside of that is warmer air gets pulled in from the oceans in the mid-levels, and that can unfortunately cause a lot more mixing, a lot more sleet along in central Virginia, while areas just north of that big mixing zone see absolutely prolific snowfall rates. So there's going to be a very strong gradient between big snowfall winters and just mixing and just a yucky scenario with only a couple inches or maybe just 1 inch of snow. So that's the main question. Now, if we look at the European ensemble, It's a bit different. It pretty much has the same story, but the European ensemble has just finally sort of hopped aboard with the snowier solution, the more or the wetter solution. If we look at the ensemble snowfall forecast from the European, you can see it shows a respectable 2 to 4 inches of snow. Again, divided by 2, so about 1 to 3 inches of snow in a narrow band right here. I think this is being underdone actually. So something in the middle of the GFS and the European ensembles, I think, is the best bet for this system. Now, if we look at the Rgem, this is a very good snowstorm model. It doesn't really have any warm or cold biases. It doesn't really have a precip bias like the NAM. And you can see this right here is a measure of frontogenesis, or the gradient between temperatures. And you can see it is a very, very strong gradient. Very impressive stuff. Let me just clear this stuff real quick. You can see this right here. This is very impressive right here. So you have a lot of warm air coming from the south, meeting that cold northern air that's coming down, and that can create some very intense snow bands just north of where you see these purple colors. So that would mean the Rgem is indicating very, very heavy snowfall bands right in this area here. And of course, here you would be seeing very heavy sleet. So it would be pouring sleet right here, then pouring snow just above that. So again, it's a very tricky forecast to try to figure out where that sleet line is going to line up and where that heavy snow line is going to take place. Now, this is also supported by some of the other models. This is a snowband little experimental thing created by NOAA. It tries to show where we might see very heavy snowbands take form or set up. And you can see this model does in fact show some very heavy banding in this sort of sweet spot right here with that big frontogenesis and that low right around Cape Hatteras. And so that again, there's going to be a narrow band of sort of winners who see very heavy snowfall rates for a few hours that really just dumps a lot of snow, overwhelms the very warm roads and very warm grass and wet conditions. And I think that area will really sort of overwhelm all those factors. Now, if we take a look at the Rgem model, again, a very good snowstorm model, and we just go step by step. So this is tonight. So we have a very strong cold front comes through, some very heavy rain, gusty winds. It already is gusty right now. Now this is Sunday afternoon. So that secondary system is forming right here. You have the backside snow, okay? And then it strengthens. You can see just how heavy this precip is. You have a very strong subtropical jet leading to lots of divergence, and that's going to allow for some very heavy precipitation. And that should also sort of help to bring down that colder air from the mid-levels. So under that very heavy precip, you might see some very heavy snow, or you might see some of that rain changing over to very wet snow. And then as we go further, this is 9Z Monday, so about 4 a.m. Then we go to 12Z Monday, and you can see it's depicting some very, very heavy snowfall rates. You see those pinks? That's snowfall rates about 1 to 2 inches per hour, believe it or not. And as that low slides upwards, you continue to see very heavy snow. This is 15Z Monday, so about 11, 12 o'clock, and things finally should depart by 1 p.m. Monday. So again, this is a very fast-moving system. There's nothing really upstream to sort of slow down the low-pressure system. This is not going to be a 12 to 24-hour storm. This is going to be a very quick mover, 5 to 10 hours of snow, and then you're done. That's just the nature of the system. Now, if we look at the Rgem Snow Totals, again, take what you see and divide by 2. So the Rgem 18Z run shows a very narrow band of about 7 to 12 inches of snow, and you divide that by 2, you get about 4 to 8 inches of snow, or maybe about 3 to 6 inches of snow in this band right here. Now, if we take a look at the HRRR, you can see it also shows that rain, and then changing over to snow Monday morning. Again, very heavy snow just north of that mixing line, just north of where that frontogenesis is taking place, with a sharp cutoff to the north. And then that quickly departs, and the HRRR model shows, again, take what you see divided by 2, about 2 to 4 inches, a bit more in northern Virginia. There has been a very steady northern trend with this snowfall forecast as the system becomes more amplified, as the models start to pick up on the more high-resolution intricacies of the wave. Now, I do think, however, if we look at the sounding, that mixing is going to be a very, very big concern. This sounding is for central Virginia, so this is right in that mixing zone. You can see that the temperature profile goes right and flirts with the 0 Celsius line. So you can see right here, this might cause some sleet, and I think that's going to be a real sort of wild card in the forecast. And what might happen is You see some very prolific snow just north of that line in maybe northern Virginia. You see it in Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, Hanover, while Henrico County, Richmond, Chesterfield gets stuck in very, very heavy sleet for 3 to 4 hours, which sort of hampers snowfall totals by a few inches. And that is definitely a concern and something that's gone into the creation of my forecast, as you'll see in a little bit. Now I want to switch, however, to the GFS model. I just want to show you what it's depicting because it really is incredible. I don't think this is going to verify, but it just goes to show how dynamic and how much convection there is in the system, how much moisture and how much energy there is. If you look at the Gfs Snowfall Forecast, oh my god. When's the last time you've seen snowfall rates or predicted snowfall rates that heavy? That pink is maxing out the color bar. This is 1 to 3 inch per hour snowfall rates for a long period of time. Obviously, the high-res models don't really buy this, and I think the GFS really is overdoing itself here. But again, this just goes to show you that if we do see this verify, if we see even something close to that with that very heavy band setting up over the sweet spot zone, then there's very good potential that a narrow area of the state will really sort of win out and see some very significant snowfall totals. Now, changing gears to why I don't think this is going to be a very significant snowstorm like the models are showing with 5 to 10 inches of snow, and why I've been saying to just divide by 2. And that's because of, for one, we had a third warmest December in Richmond history for 2021. So soil temperatures are very warm. In fact, the current soil temperature is 64 degrees, believe it or not, which is unbelievably warm. That's going to really sort of make the snow instantly melt as soon as it hits the ground. Ground conditions will also be very wet. You're going to be seeing very heavy rain before you see that transition to snow, which should help promote melting and the snow just immediately changing to liquid. Now, however, if we do see a period of sleet, that will help to sort of create an icy base for where that snow can accumulate on. But again, even though that might be the case, the very warm ground temperatures, the very wet ground, and even the marginal temperatures, snow will be falling during the peak of the event when temperatures are around 32 to 34 degrees in central Virginia, which is by no means ideal for rapid accumulation. This is going to be a very heavy, wet snow that sticks to the ground, compacts quite a bit. So if this was, for example, the dead of January and we had an Arctic air mass in place with highs in the mid-30s, we could be seeing half a foot of snow to a foot of snow maybe. But because of the situation we're in right now, this is going to be a very different system. So that brings me to my first look snowfall forecast. Let me bring it to the full screen view. And as you can see, I am going with that narrow band being just along and north of I-64 in the northeast to southwest orientation. I think 2 to 5 inches is a good bet for this region. I may have to shift this a bit north or a bit south, depending on where that mixing layer or where that mixing zone sets up and where that very heavy snowfall rate zone sets up. And then around that 1 to 3 inches in this broad area right here of Virginia. North of that, less than 1 inch. This includes far northern Virginia, the suburbs of DC. I may actually have to raise this a little bit. I may have to make this blue line go up until Winchester, but we'll see. I'll have an updated snowfall forecast tomorrow. And then again, less than 1 inch in far southeastern Virginia. And again, I think a large area of the state will see a relatively consistent 1 to 3 inches of snow. But this area right here, this includes western Henrico, Goochland, Louisa, Charlottesville County, Spotsylvania, the Northern Neck, Tappahannock. I think you guys have the best chance of seeing 2 to 5 inches of very heavy, wet snow. And again, I think the roads should be, for the most part, pretty fine. If you get stuck under a very heavy band of snow, the roads might become slick for just a few hours, or even not even a few hours, a few minutes before, once that snow departs, the roads will very quickly melt as road temperatures are very, very warm. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I think our first snowfall is on the way for Central Virginia, and I'm quite excited. And I hope you are too. See you next time.